Some people have to fight for every precious drop of water as they struggle to defeat the desert. Others have all the water they could ever want, so much they need to protect themselves against it. The land where they live is lush but capricious. Living in places as arid as Mars or as humid as a greenhouse force people to learn to adapt. Extreme climates call for endurance and ingenuity, and it's water that decides life or death. Over the coming decades, more and more regions are expected to suffer serious droughts. Fresh water is becoming an increasingly rare commodity. The most extreme of all regions, where water is already traded almost like gold, is the Atacama Desert in Chile. The center of the Atacama is regarded as the driest place on Earth. Some parts of this desert have never seen a single drop of water. Chile's main transportation artery cuts right through it. The Pan American Highway that stretches 25,000 kilometers from Alaska to Patagonia. For truck drivers with a clear conscience, this control station is a welcome respite. The police are controlling waybills, searching for contraband, and tracking the weather. Every morning, while the coolness of the night still lingers in the air, Victor Barria, the officer in charge, turns to the weather station. It has only the most basic equipment, 2 thermometers.
I've been here for 2 years and 3 months and have never seen rain. In the morning, at around 8:30, we record the lowest temperature and the highest at 8:30 in the evening. Occasionally, we check the rain gauge too, but it never contains anything but dust.
This is Quillagua, most likely the world's driest inhabited place. An oasis now turning into a ghost town. 800 people lived here once. Now it's down to about 120. The school building is far too big these days. School starts at 8 o'clock sharp. All that remains today is a single class containing 8 to 10 students at most. The class may be small, but it follows the old traditions.
1, 2, 3. Puro Chile, tu cielo azul.
Just as in the days when Quillagua was still bustling, students and teachers sing the national anthem together. Quillagua's inhabitants truly live in the middle of the desert. It's a 3.5-hour drive to get to the next bigger city. Chile's capital, Santiago, is 1,600 kilometers away. Despite their isolation, the students have access to more than just theoretical information about the broader world. Quillagua has, or rather used to have, valuable learning materials right at hand. A museum, excavation sites, and meteorite craters well worth seeing. But tourists ignore Quillagua despite its attractions, all because of its desperate lack of water. Quillagua's drinking water has always had to be transported in. Roberto Palapa is a water driver, like his father before him. The water is transported from hundreds of kilometers away and stored in underground reservoirs. Though water for personal use, mainly drinking water, is extremely valuable, it's still available in limited quantities. Not so water for commercial and industrial use, which causes quite a few problems for the local fire brigade. Unfortunately, there is no fire engine anymore. It was lent out 3 years ago and now sits abandoned by the coast with a broken engine. No fire engine, no water for the fire brigade. They have no choice but to organize dry runs using a hose without water from a fire engine that doesn't exist. And that would have been difficult to fill with enough water anyway. To keep young firefighters motivated, the highlight of the exercise is target spraying, using actual water from newly acquired fire extinguisher backpacks that operate with a hand pump.